Hello, welcome to my studio. As promised, I'm going to give you a kind of in-depth debriefing of how the pop-up gallery went, the pop-up gallery show. So we were in Toronto for 5 full days plus the one opening night. And overall, as I said, the show was quite successful. And I'm really looking forward to doing it again in December. But there were some things that I would do differently going forward, and some things that I'm going to continue to do, and some things that maybe I wouldn't do at all. So we'll get in here. We'll talk about what went right, what could have been done better, and then what maybe we won't do next time. And I also have an announcement at the very end of this video that will probably impact you as well, so stick around for that. So as I mentioned in my last vlog, overall the pop-up experience went really well. I'm sorry I'm going to be peering over my glasses here because I've made some notes and I need my glasses to see them to make sure I hit everything. But as you know, we rented a pop-up gallery space in Toronto on Dundas Street West, and we had a show we had the opening night on Friday, and then we had 5 days of the gallery being open. And we did, again, it was, as I mentioned, it was a good, not great show. We did about just under $15,000 in sales, and our expenses were just over $2,000. So we made a little over $12,000, maybe $12,500 in profit. So based on just 5 days of having the gallery, that was really good. Based on past performance that I've had at shows that I've had just out of my house, I wouldn't say it was great because we've done anywhere from $20,000 to $50,000 in sales on a weekend out of my house. But there were some things about this that were very, very encouraging in terms of going forward. And so let me talk about those things first okay, so what was really good about this? So first off, it was great having a gallery space and not having to totally turn my house upside down, which is what happens when we've had our studio open houses. We end up moving half the furniture kind of out into the garage and into the extra bedrooms, and our whole house kind of turns into a gallery for a couple days. And so that 2 days of having the open house basically takes about a week because it's several days of rearranging the house and all the furniture and then hanging the work and then actually having the show and then several days to get everything back to normal. So we didn't have to worry about that by having the pop-up show. The other thing is it put us in a different geographic location so that we had the potential to reach clients who might not necessarily be able to make it out to our house. Now we live outside of Toronto. I'm anywhere from a half an hour to an hour and 20 minutes outside of Toronto by car, depending on where you live. So a lot of the people that live in the city either don't have access to cars or don't particularly want to drive out to the suburbs. So by being in Toronto, we had the opportunity to kind of be exposed to those people. And that actually worked out well. We had one client who was a return client who had purchased something off us in the past. That was actually someone who was a friend of mine from my days in the police force. But other than that, every single client that came was a brand new client. And that is really encouraging because as I've mentioned before, historically, anyone who makes a purchase off an artist, they're likely to come back at least 2 or 3 more times over the course of their lifetime. So acquiring new clients is a really, really important part of any sort of sales and marketing effort. So the fact that all of the sales that we had pretty much were all to people who had never purchased off us before, that was really good because there's a very high chance that at least some, if not all of those people will purchase again in the future. Now I'm going to talk about the location and the space itself, so I'll handle them separately. So the space itself was fabulous. Again, I think this was probably the most impressive display of my work I've ever had. So the gallery space itself just worked amazing. Now, in terms of the location of the actual gallery, that worked well for us, and I think it will work well in December as well. But this is a place that does not have like pedestrian shopping traffic going by. This is kind of on a major route. There's kind of a lot of it's almost industrial, but a lot of kind of stores and places there that people come to specifically to go there. It's not like an area where people are strolling along looking in windows shopping. And so I would say just about everybody that came there, they came as a result of the promotion that we had done. So they're followers, they're fans of my work, and they saw that we were going to be there, and then they made the effort to come there. Now we did get a fair number of people who happened to be local, and so who came because they already know me. But very few of the people that came into the gallery would have come in the gallery without a significant amount of promotion. If I was just relying on walk-by traffic, I would expect that we might have had 6 people in the gallery over the entire week. I actually did have some people though drop in. I had one woman come in, so this was very kind of gratifying, that said she lived in the area for 14 years, and this space has been a pop-up retail space for that entire length of time, and this was the display that we had in the front window actually intrigued her enough to bring her into the gallery. She came in and spent about 10 or 15 minutes and talked to me and said this is the first time in the whole time she's lived there that she actually came into one of the events that was going on. So that made me feel really good about just how well we actually did kind of execute that front display window. But if you're going to be doing something like this, unless it is in a really high traffic pedestrian area, then you're going to be responsible for bringing the people in. And we did that, and I was quite happy with how that worked out. Yeah, so that's it in terms of the actual location, and I'm very excited about, again, the prospects of the Christmas show at this location again. One of the other things that was great about this is the actual space looked spectacular. So for people who had never been exposed to my work in person before, which was the large majority, it was a really great way to display my work. Much better than just having it hung haphazardly all around my house. So that really, really looked amazing, and I was happy. It was actually nice for me to get down there too every day and interact with the people. Typically when we did our open house, for 2 days, it was so busy that often I didn't have much chance to chat with people. But because I was there every day from noon until 7, and I was there painting, I had the chance to actually really chat with people for half an hour, and make some connections. And that's the thing with this business too, is people love your art. If they have the ability to interact with you, and it's a very positive experience, then that really, really increases the chance that at some point they're going to become a client. So if not that time, at another time. So that worked out really well too, that we were there for the whole 5 days, and that I didn't feel rushed, that I had to move around from person to person and not give anyone my undivided attention. So those things went well, and as I say, in general, doing over $12,000 in profit in 5 days was a good thing. But let's talk about things that I didn't particularly kind of think went well, and how they're going to change things that we do going forward. So the one thing that we did that I wouldn't do again is we had the opening on the Friday night. So let's just talk about the timing and the hours. So again, not having been in Toronto for a while on a regular basis, you kind of forget about the rush hour and rush hour routes. Now, when I was a police officer, rush hour went from 4 till 6 p.m. Now it goes from 3:30 till 6:30 p.m. So we had our show opening at 5 o'clock, and we're right on a major rush hour route, which meant that parking was non-existent for about an hour an hour and a half before the opening until an hour and a half after we had already opened. So that not only impacted kind of, the number of people that came, but those that did come, which there were a fair number of, were severely inconvenienced. Even my wife, Diane, had to park about 20 minutes away when she came down for 4 o'clock to come help us set up for the opening. So I wouldn't do the opening again. I found it really wasn't worth all the effort, and particularly being in Toronto, in a place where first of all, moving around on a Friday, the last kind of weekend of the summer before Labor Day. It's a very, very busy weekend traffic wise. And so it's not really easy for people to get there. And once they get there, it's not easy to park. So I wouldn't do that again. The other thing as far as the timing goes is, again, we did it the weekend before Labor Day. Now that was mainly just because when we were kind of scheduling this out, we were just looking at, just when we could fit it into plans that we had already had set for the year, and this worked out. But I wouldn't do this time again, because we did hear back from a lot of people who would have liked to have made it that they were going away to their cottage. A lot of the Toronto area people who are affluent and would potentially be my clients have cottages. And Labor Day is the weekend they spend getting the kids all ready to get back to school. So that weekend before is the last weekend usually that everybody goes up to their cottage. So again, I would just look a little bit more closely about the timing. But again, this was just a 5-day thing to really just dip our toe in the water and to kind of learn for what we're going to be doing in December. And when we moved forward in December, I was down there every day. I wouldn't do that again, obviously, for the whole month. I think we would close probably Monday, Tuesday. Those were particularly the slowest days. And as you would expect, the weekends were the busiest days. Those were the days that we had the most amount of people come in, and our biggest sales. In fact, all of our original sales happened on the weekend. So yeah, that's as far as the timing goes. Yeah, and I would also, again, we're doing it for a month. I would never do it for 5 days. I say the people that bought the originals came in on the weekend and had plenty of time to kind of look. Actually, one couple was there right before we opened the doors. They were waiting for us. We're there for about an hour and a half, and then purchased a fairly major piece. But the people that came during the week, that came after work, they felt very rushed. And the fact that we weren't there for them to be able to come back on the weekend or bring someone with them, I think that really hurt us. And these people weren't tire kickers. Someone mentioned about old people say that. Like, actually, in every case, the 5 that I said I just slipped out on, they all came at significant inconvenience to themselves. So one woman came actually during rush hour from Waterloo, which is an hour and change away. But everybody drove at least an hour. The ones that were interested in purchasing, that came on the weeknights. And not only that, the one night we actually stayed open for an extra half hour. So in 2 cases, people were actually in the gallery for 2 hours trying to make a decision, and then phoning back and forth and sending photos back and forth. So these weren't tire kickers. These were people who were very serious. So I expect probably we'll see in December. But I think if we had been open for a 2-week window instead of 5 days, we probably could have closed at least a couple of those sales. So that's it as far as kind of the timing. So let's talk about the actual promotion we did for this. So probably leading up to the show for about 3 weeks, all of my social media posts mentioned in one way or another the fact that I was having this show coming up at 2104 Dundas Street West, and that we were going to be paying the HST. So that was kind of leading up everything that I did, kind of, at least I got that mention in there. And most of the promotions that we did was all free. So Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and through my newsletter. I have a newsletter of about 650 subscribers who follow me. All of that kind of thing didn't take any money at all, it just took time. We did spend about $500 on advertising, and that was all through Facebook ads. And when we do ads, all I do basically is boost the post. So the posts are specifically targeted about the show, but I can target the post to people who live within like a 30-kilometer radius of Toronto, who are interested in art, interior design, landscape painting, so that it's going to people who are potential clients. And also some of the posts I would direct it to people who liked my page, or people who like my page and their friends. So a variety of these different things. And I would say probably 95% of the people that came, it was as a result of the Facebook advertising. The other thing that I did is I did a live feed from the gallery almost every day for 15 or 20 minutes while I was painting. And I've gotten very good at talking while I'm painting and talking about my work. And so the beautiful thing about live feeds is Facebook really wants to promote people to do those. So if you are good at doing live TV or Facebook, whatever you want to call it, you can over-index on your reach, and then once you've finished, you can just post it as a video. But because of the fact that it's a live video, people don't expect post-production quality, so that was great for me. Whereas in these YouTube channels, there's probably 20 minutes to a half an hour of editing each post, and then it's 20 minutes to go through the whole upload process and wait for it to be ready to be published. On the live Facebook, I can just turn on the camera and go, and then once I'm finished, I can just click publish and it will be posted. So I'm actually going to be shifting more towards doing a lot of live Facebook stuff just because of the simplicity, and there's only so many hours in a day. So as I say, that worked really well. We got a lot of people in. We probably had over the course of the show, I don't know, 100 people come into the gallery. And what's the last thing? Oh, sales. So how we handled sales. We had a point of sale device from our merchant bank. So the bank that we deal with, that I have a commercial account with. But we found this to be incredibly frustrating. It was a wireless device that's supposed to hook up via Bluetooth to your phone. It's supposed to partner with the phone, and then you deal on a combination of with your phone and with this device. We've had this for a while, and literally 50% of the time we try to use it, it will not partner up with the phone. And so we end up on the helpline with the merchant services, and finally get it working. But it's like it's an incredible amount of stress and delay when you're looking at kind of transacting a sale. So I said to Diane, like, enough of this. We went out and got Square. So I got Square in the morning. I had it set up that night, I think of the second or third day, and then I used that for all the purchases, and it was beautiful, seamless. So if you're looking for a point of sale option, I would really recommend Square. You can actually buy it at Staples or a lot of other stores. It's like $10 or $15, and then you actually get that credit towards the first transactions where they take the fee off you. And literally within one day, I was able to get it set up and running the device to handle purchases. So that's how the sales went. And one other thing that I would change, now I wanted this to be a very impressive show, but we had about 80% of the gallery space set up for originals and only about 20% set up for the reproductions. And what we found was probably about half our total volume of sales was reproductions, but more pieces because the price point was lower. And we only sold reproductions that we actually had in the gallery. So we had a small percentage of what we actually produce in the gallery, and then we had a catalog showing our entire selection of all of the different giclées that we do, so that people could look and choose something from the catalog, order it at the same discount. But what in fact happened is we didn't get a single order from the catalog. Every single giclée purchase that happened was stuff that we actually physically had in the gallery. So going forward in December, I think I would reverse those percentages so that we would have probably 80% of the gallery dedicated to the giclées and maybe 20% originals. And that also makes sense in terms of, even though often like I say, the total dollar value of sales of giclées versus originals is usually pretty even at my former open houses, the total number of purchases of the giclées is much more, obviously, because they're a fraction of the cost. And I also think at Christmas, because we're going to be going after that Christmas market where people are going to be buying presents for people potentially. Obviously, not very many people are going to spend $1,000 to $16,000 on a painting, but they will spend $160 to several $100s for a present for a loved one. So having more of the giclées, giving them more display, and then I still plan on having a number of originals there in extra. So as pieces sell, we'll let them go and we'll just replace them, or we'll have pieces available for people to see. What's the other thing we did? We had a lot of, again, it's the first time I did this, so I really wanted it to look amazing. But we had, some huge pieces there. We had a 4 foot by 6 foot painting, a 40 by 60, 36 by 60. At Christmas, I would also have those there, but I would have them, we have some storage available downstairs. So I would have them on hand for again, it's kind of a small percentage of clients that would be interested in something that size. So I would have them on hand, but I wouldn't use that display space for those. I would have the G-Clays up in that space, and if someone was interested in a big original, then we'd be able to take them downstairs and show them, and then if they were still interested, we could bring it upstairs, but I wouldn't use it to kind of take up that much display space. I would have and at Christmas as well, I also planning on having a lot of smaller originals, right, from 12 by 12, 16 by 16s, so even originals that are under that $1,000 mark. So yeah, two other things that I would do differently going forward into December is I would really try and take more advantage of local opportunities to promote the show and create buzz. So one of the things actually someone mentioned to me that was there was that, gee, I should really have approached the local newspaper in that neighborhood. Like every neighborhood has a newspaper. And the fact that I'm a former police officer from Toronto who worked in the city and is now a professional artist, fairly well known, and opening a gallery in that space, that probably is something that's newsworthy for the local paper. They're always looking for these kind of human interest stories, and we could use that to generate more awareness about the gallery and the fact that I'm going to be there. And so definitely going forward into December, I'm going to be doing that. The other thing that I didn't even really think of is again, being a former police officer in Toronto, is approaching the police stations in that area and asking them if I could put something up about the show. Now, I didn't do anything related to the police, but two of the clients that I had that were brand new clients that came into the gallery are police officers and who are aware of me. Again, I'm fairly well known within the Toronto policing community as someone who quit the job to kind of pursue his dream and is doing very well. So I would really like to tap into that too. If I had gone around to all of the stations and asked if I could put a flyer up, I'm sure that probably would have generated more. We got two purchases from police officers when I didn't even really kind of do anything to target that market. In fact, the fellow who won this original, Chris Consack, is a police officer. So we're actually heading out tomorrow to deliver this piece to him, and he's quite excited to get that. So I think that's about it for the wrap up. And I do have another announcement to make. As you've realized, I haven't been posting every day since the show, and it's been a lot of fun doing the daily vlog, but it's also been a lot of work. And I've been thinking about this for a while, that I'm kind of stretching sometimes, just reaching for topics to talk about. So going forward after today, I'm still going to continue the vlog, but it's going to be a weekly vlog. I'm no longer going to be able to be doing the vlog on a daily basis, partly because I feel like I've said a lot of what I really need to say. And again, I just find I'm stretching, trying to find something new to talk about every day, but also because I'm coming into a really busy time where I've got 2 conferences coming up in the next month. I've got a 4-day painting trip I'm going to be away on. I'm also going to be taking on the duties of the Vice Presidency of the East Central Ontario Art Association, and also just around the house, where there's been a lot of things that I've kind of planned on doing in terms of reorganizing my studio, reorganizing our printing area and our storage and inventory, and all of that stuff really is not conducive to shooting video, and I just really want to get on this stuff and get it done. So I'm going to be switching to a weekly vlog after this. and I plan on publishing every Friday morning. So that will allow me to kind of do one vlog a week, and where I can really think about providing content that I think is going to be valuable. As I say, I'm very, very happy with what I've done. It's been 4 months of the daily vlog. The first month, every single day, and then since then, up until the last week, every Monday to Friday. But after 100 videos, I really feel that I'm kind of just grasping at straws, trying to find something to say. And I'd like to get back. I'd like to get back to the gym this winter, and it's kind of like that extra hour and a half a day can either be spent trying for me to put something out on the vlog, or to get back in the gym and get in shape. So I'm going to be doing that. So we will be seeing a weekly vlog, and I'll be doing more live Facebook. So if you are interested in seeing more, just kind of a day in the life of me in the studio and me talking about what I'm doing, I will be doing live Facebook more often. And as I mentioned earlier, the payoff on that was just so much more. One of the reasons for me doing this kind of thing is to impact as many people as possible. And while I may get 40, 50, 60, 100 views of a YouTube video, again, there's a lot more work involved in doing it. And if I do a live Facebook feed and then post it, I'll get 2, 4, 5,000 views. So the kind of impact of doing that is much greater, and the actual amount of work going into it is much less. So for those of you who have been following me on a daily basis, I really appreciate it. I encourage you to still subscribe. I'll be putting out the vlog on a weekly basis. But yeah, I just find that I was hoping to go to 100, but I just kind of realized today that, you know what? I feel like I'm kind of done right now. I'm sure in a week, given time to think about it, I'll be able to put something together. And I'm also planning on being able to spend a little bit more time maybe doing each vlog, rather than just kind of running and gunning each day about what's going on in the studio. So I look forward to seeing you here from here on in on my weekly vlog. So yeah, thank you for subscribing. If you haven't already, please do. I welcome your comments and questions. And as always, I thank you for your time. I'm Tim Backer.